three. Hello, Ruth. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Albert. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, I am so excited to have you on this month's segment of It's All About the Agents. We are celebrating Black History Month, and I just want to highlight you, your insurance journey, and all the work that you're doing with our EBP, Empowering Black Professionals, ERG at CNA, and all the things that you have done. It is a spectacular journey, and I think it's worth highlighting. I think people are going to leave this segment just motivated to do more, follow in your footsteps. So again, just from the bottom of my heart, thank you for joining me today.
And thank you, Albert. I really appreciate the opportunity. You are always a great supporter and always, you roll your sleeves up. So I really do appreciate the opportunity to be with you today.
Absolutely. And just so for the audience, just so you know, Ruth is a senior consultant, claim vendor at CNA, and she has been with CNA, if correct me if I'm wrong, almost 24, 25 years.
In April will be 25 years with CNA. Yes, yes.
That is
When I say
amazing.
that, I'm like, oh, yes, but yes,
But you
25
know
years
what?
in
You
April.
started when you were 10. You look
Yes,
fantastic.
yes, yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
So, one thing I always like to highlight, and it's all about the agents, is my guest journey and how they got into insurance, right? And one of the things that I find fascinating, and knowing you for the last few years and kind of talking to you and everything like that, you were actually a registered nurse by trade,
Yes,
right? So,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
talk me through, like, people would ask, how did you get into insurance? Why did you get into insurance, right? So talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, certainly. And there's certainly a story there. And I am still a registered nurse. I still I keep my
Okay,
license current. And every 2 years, I have to get it recertified. So I am still a
amazing.
registered nurse and I still carry all of my certifications that I have. I worked very hard for them and I
Yes.
continue to keep them up. So, but here's the story about my journey to the insurance industry.
Okay.
So, registered nurse, worked in pediatric intensive care and neonatal intensive care for several years, and got married, and then got pregnant. And so, this is the story. 5 months pregnant, I had surgery and major surgery, and my
Okay.
doctor would not release me to go back to work. And I said, "Oh no, 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 no! I have to go back to work because I
I have to go back
we
to
had
work.
just bought a house. We had
Right.
just bought a house."
Right.
And he said, "Well, Ruth, you can't stand on your feet for 12 hours because as an ICU nurse, that's pretty much I'm on my feet for 12 to 16 hours." And he
Correct.
said, high risk of losing the baby, so I cannot return you back to work. And I said, "No, doctor, I need to go back to work." And he says, "Well, the only way I'll release you to back to work is if you can find a job, a sit down job, then I'll release you back
Okay.
to work." Now, in his mind, as a doctor,
Right.
those years ago, I won't tell you how many years ago, but those years ago, he's like, she's not going to find a job
She's not
sitting
getting
down.
right.
but I'm trying to make her happy. So, okay,
Sure.
I'll release you back to work if you can find a sit down job. So fast forward, reading a nursing magazine, sitting on my couch, open up the nursing magazine, and it says literally RNs needed Monday through Friday, no weekends, no holidays, sit down job only. Literally.
Oh, wow.
And and I and,
From
and
above,
it
from
was around
above.
I know it was divine intervention. And it was around the corner from where I live. So I talked to my husband about it and I said, you know what, they're not gonna hire me, even though they won't say it, but they're not gonna hire me,
Sure.
this pregnant woman. And he says, you won't know until you go.
Yeah.
And so I went for an interview and literally they hired me on the spot. And
Oh my
and it was
gosh.
it was for a managed care company doing utilization review and case management. Um, and so their only question was, "Are you going to come back after you have the baby?" That's what they
Okay.
asked me.
Okay.
In my
Okay.
mind, of course, I said the right thing, but in my mind, I'm thinking, no, I'm going back and I'm working in the hospital because that's what I really truly enjoy. But
Correct.
then I saw that I was able to be a patient advocate on the healthcare side, the insurance side. I was
Right.
able to help with helping people understand, insurance companies to understand that it's more than a checkoff list, right? Um,
Correct.
a lot of surgeries were being denied. A lot of people that look like us, surgeries were
Yes.
being denied.
Yes.
And I was able to come and utilize my medical knowledge to say, no, it may not fit in this box, but this is the
Right.
reason why we need to move forward with um, certifying this surgery. So I
Passionate.
found I
Passionate.
exactly,
DEI
exactly.
before it was
Yeah.
DEI.
There you go. There you go. I was advocating. Yes, I
Right.
was. And
Yes.
so I was able to like I said, I found a passion in helping and being a patient advocate on the insurance side. And all these years later, here I am still working in insurance. So that's how I landed in insurance.
Insurance.
Yeah.
And now with CNA, and that's such a great story too, because it really shows that we can be um, very versatile, right?
Hmm.
Insurance is one of those careers that takes from all different industries, and I try to tell people that, especially young people, trying to get them
Hmm.
encouraged to join the insurance industry, especially if you are a person of color, how important it is, to have more representation in our industry. But you can come from any career path, right? Any degree, any industry. There's a place for you in insurance. And then currently at CNA, what is your role? What do you do at CNA?
So as we talked about earlier, come April, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
with CNA for 25 years, and I've had three different roles since I've been with CNA. So when I first started with
Okay.
CNA, I was a manager for case management. So we have RNs, registered nurses, who work for CNA, and I
Okay.
managed a team of nurses for case management and utilization review. So I did that for 10 years. Absolutely loved it. Grew
Fascinating.
the
Yeah.
business. Absolutely adored it. But then I wanted some challenges. I have my
Yeah. Of
MBA,
course.
and I was thinking, okay, I need to challenge myself.
Mhm.
So then I started working in client services. So I was the one point of contact for claims. So working with our
Okay.
underwriting team, working with our risk
Yes.
control team, and really helping to bring business to CNA. So I did that for almost 11 years. I was doing that. And
Wow. Okay.
currently, today, I work for vendor on the vendor management team. So kind of went full
Okay.
circle because
Yeah.
now
Yeah. Exactly.
I I'm I manage case management vendors. So the workers' comp line of business is who I manage. And so
Okay.
case management vendors, pharmacy vendors, utilization review, and others. But some of those same people that I worked with, almost 25 years ago,
Right.
I'm now working with again.
That's awesome.
So I've kind of come full circle. So when you talk about, using your transferable skills, yes, I'm a nurse. Yes, I have a lot of medical knowledge, but it's really putting all those pieces together when you talk about insurance and you talk about the insurance that we write here at CNA. And I'm talking specifically now about workers' comp. It's really, medical knowledge, injured workers, getting them back to work, right? Having that
Absolutely.
knowledge.
Absolutely.
So, and you have the transferable skills, being compassionate, and
Hmm.
all of that. As a nurse, that's what we are,
Right.
but really understanding, all of the different pieces that goes into trying to put a, workers' comp program together, or whether it's ALGL or
Sure.
healthcare. We have, in our
Right.
specialty area, because I used to support healthcare when I was in client services. So again, it's those transferable skills that you can use and bring to the industry.
That is, it's really comes down to risk management, right? We're
Right.
trying to manage, whatever the risk is, the best possible to bring solutions to the clients, right? We want to make sure
Hmm.
that it's not costing them money, it's not costing us money, and trying to
Hmm.
resolve the issue.
Hmm.
So truly a problem solver, health
Right.
advocate. But what an amazing, and I think that's what's so interesting is, again, I go back to just the opportunities that exist in our industry. Here you were
Hmm.
able to take the knowledge that you had and really transition it into insurance, and, having a successful career,
Hmm.
25 years and going, wearing the
Yes. Yes.
CNA, wearing this, waving
I'm
the
not
CNA
stopping yet.
flag. And right,
Right.
right. And I think, and it's interesting, and we're gonna go into this, but what's interesting is that now, in the last, 5, 7 years, 8 years or so, you've just been advocating, and becoming an amazing voice, for the community, for the industry as a whole. And you are, I gotta say this, but you're a proud mom of three amazing children. I follow, a few of your kids on LinkedIn, and just see some of the work that they do. And you've done a phenomenal job in really promoting education. And I think that is something that's so important in our community, right? Is the value of education. My grandmother, worked at the public schools. She was superintendent of public
Mhm.
schools in Chicago. And these were times when diversity wasn't really even a thing, right? But
Mhm.
she said always knowledge is power. And I think, you have three successful children, graduated from college.
Mhm.
They're amazing professionals, and that's just kudos to the example, I think that
Mhm.
you've set. But really, congratulations, because they're phenomenal. I don't know them personally, but I feel like I
Mhm.
do, just through you. So I think it's important to mention
Mhm.
just what you do outside is the same that you do inside with your own family.
And I appreciate that. I am a very proud mom. All three of my children, like you said, they're all three college graduates. Two of the three will have master's degree. My baby girl will get her master's degree in a couple months, and my oldest has his master's. Um, and it's just something that my husband and I instilled in our children, and like your grandmother, education, knowledge is power, and that was one of the things. It was non-negotiable when it came to whether they were going to go to college or what have you. But we also had two very Division I athletes that both played in college,
Correct.
and
Right.
and it was just one of those things that we really pushed our children to make sure that you know basketball can be taken away from you in
Right.
a matter of milliseconds, right? But
Correct.
no one can ever take your education away from
Right.
you. and
Right.
and that was what we instilled in our children, and we're just very proud. We're very proud to see that we have all three of our children graduated from PWIs, which is predominantly white institutions, and maybe we'll get into that a little
Right.
bit later. But they set the standard, set the stage about,
Right.
even though I'm at a PWI school, I'm still going to be, speak loud and proud about who I am,
Correct.
and and
Right.
uh and make a, just make a dent, and they did
Well,
at the
and
colleges
let
that
me
they attended.
well, let me tell you, you're tip of the spear, right? And
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and they have followed, in your
Hmm.
footsteps. So
Yes.
now let's talk about our amazing ERG, right?
Yes.
EVP,
Yes.
empowering Black professionals.
Hmm.
And Ruth, you are the co-chair with the amazing Terry Hill. And
Yes.
I have to
Yes.
say that the two of you have done a fantastic job in terms of the content that you're bringing to everybody. And just the increase that we've seen in our ERGs. I think the number was something like 20% increase in our
Yes. Yes.
ERGs in the
Yes.
last 3 or 4 years. That
Yes. Yes.
let me tell you is unbelievable. First of all, that's a huge
Hmm.
accomplishment, and it really speaks volumes to our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, right? And
Hmm.
we've gone international. Now we have members
Yes.
from Canada, from our international partners at CNA. So I think that alone,
Hmm.
and I think you followed, from the work that Levez was doing and all those
Yes.
prior,
Yes.
2020 was a year that I think, for everybody, there were some difficulties, but we had this little coffee chat that we
Hmm.
all engaged, and on Fridays we'd get on their coffee and just share, what was going on. And
Hmm.
that support system, personally, to me, it helped me, right,
Hmm.
and I looked forward to those conversations on Fridays, and it helped me get through my week.
Mhm.
But since then, the work has just continued.
Yes.
So talk to me about this because I mean, you are the voice. You and Terry are just out there. You guys are the voice, of EVP.
Well, thank you for that, Albert. And you had a lot to do with that also. So thank you for all of your support and everything.
Absolutely.
But I will tell you, before I became co-chair with Terry, and I tell you, Terry and we just work so well together.
Oh,
Just have to give a shout out
amazing.
to Terry.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
but we were both on the board of, it was at the time, it was called AAENG, African American Employee
yes.
Networking Group. And we had a brand change last year, and we went to Empowering Black Professionals, which is EVP. And we were both on the board. And, unfortunately, when we had the unfortunate circumstance in 2020 with when George Floyd was murdered,
Yeah.
we were all just really struggling a
Hmm.
lot, just showing up and everything, and needing to be present because we still had to do our jobs, right? But it was just
Right.
really, really draining on us. And I'll tell you, the coffee chat was one of the things that I recommended. I said, you know what, we've got to have a safe space
Yeah.
for our
Right.
people to come together along with our allies, right? To really
Yeah,
hear
absolutely.
and understand what we were going through. And I tell you, because we were having those coffee chats every week, weekly
Every
coffee,
week.
just just
Absolutely.
getting together, having talking about what's on our mind, what people are talking about, and so those were just absolutely wonderful. And I'll tell you, fast forward, when the role was open to become a co-chair, I thought about it, and I didn't want to be in a co-chair role just to be in a co-chair role for visibility and all of that.
Right.
I really wanted to make a difference. And I really wanted to make a difference to continue on with the work that Levez Middleton was doing and Sarah Washington was doing. And
Hmm.
even before that, Ken was doing. Really continue that work, right? But also, we wanted to be intentional about reaching out to people that look like us to bring into the insurance
Yes.
industry.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
because one of the things that when I interviewed for the role, one of the things I said is I don't want to be in a role just to have events and have, put together,
Hmm.
parties and all of that. I really wanted to
Right.
make
Right.
right. I really wanted to make a difference. And we wanted to make a difference, Terry and I, on really being intentional about bringing people into the insurance industry that look like us, and also not only bringing them in, but also let's think about what we're doing at the C-suite level, at the executive level,
Yes.
and
Yes.
really holding people accountable, saying, okay, yes, we do have this DEI program in place, but what are we doing to advance people of color?
Hmm.
And so,
Right.
very, very intentional about that. We have strong, strong partnerships now with the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. So
Yes.
we've gone out
Yes.
and we've interviewed and we've mentored um, not only college students but also high school students. So we
Yes.
we don't want to just start at the college level. We want to reach down to the high school, maybe even middle school, just so that
Yeah.
people
Okay.
have a knowledge of the insurance industry. Because people like us that look like us, they don't really understand what an
Right.
insurance career can do for them. And so,
Correct. Correct.
so again, just being very intentional about not only making sure that our EBP members are fed and
Hmm.
served, but also people that outside of the walls of CNA, that so that they
Yes.
have an understanding of what an insurance career can do for them. An insurance career is very lucrative and rewarding. And
Yes.
so that's what
Yes.
we want. We wanted to make sure that we have reached out. And I tell you, Albert, the students that we have embarked on and we've had interactions with, they're
Hmm.
amazing. We're in good
Rock
hands.
stars.
Oh,
Rock
they are.
stars. I like
They
it.
are. They are. They are. And that's why my passion, even though eventually, there will be new co-chairs that will come on board, but my passion is
Sure.
still there, and I'm still going to be working just as hard to make sure, I've been with CNA for 25 years almost. And I really want
Right.
CNA to succeed. And it's a great company to work for. And I really want to see people like us that look like us to be able to come in and be successful.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. And one of the things too is you've been being there as being at CNA for these 25 years, you could probably say that today in today's CNA, there's intention, there's allyship, there's truly a commitment from prior years, right? From prior
Absolutely.
years and in the past. I think that
Absolutely.
and I can't speak for other companies, but I can speak
Mhm.
for what I've seen at CNA and internally, that development
Mhm.
internally, finding mentors
Mhm.
internally that can help you move through, and there's
Mhm.
there's advancement opportunities, because the last thing you want to do is get into the industry and just, sit and not evolve. And I think that's where EBP has gone the extra mile in terms of developing, the
Mhm.
talent that we have, and then
Mhm.
bringing on obviously new talent. So, and as I've seen too, you're extremely active also in just promoting, right, the
Mhm.
EBP. And
Mhm.
talk a little bit. I think you're going to be on a couple panels. I've seen a few things that you're doing. So chat with
Yes.
me a little bit about where you're taking this, this new venture of yours, this empowerment, this advocacy.
And you know what I call it is I call it is my DEI journey, right? And
Yes.
really
Yeah.
bringing allies along with me. And so it's not only at CNA, but it's also outside of CNA. So I work very
Mhm.
closely. I'm on the board with NIA of Los Angeles, which is our National
Yes.
African
Yes.
American Insurance
Absolutely.
Association.
Yeah.
So I work very closely with NIA, and CNA is a partner with NIA also.
Yes.
And also, I work with the Alliance of Women in Workers' Comp. So I'm on the diversity steering committee with them, and we're about to launch. Here's my little plug. We're about to launch a mentoring
Yeah.
program.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're about to
Let's do
launch
it.
a mentoring program. So go out on LinkedIn and look for Alliance of Women in Workers' Comp. So sorry about that.
Oh, you're
And
good.
so working. So again, it's really about being intentional, right? So I
Yes.
really want to
Yes.
be able to reach out to as many people as I can to really mentor and also, share with them the information about insurance and what we can do to advance people in insurance. And whatever I can do to do that, whatever I can do to support that,
Right.
I'm going to do that because we cannot depend on others to do it for us, right?
Correct. We
We
have to
have to
be. We
be
have
able
to. We
to
have to take action. Yeah. We have to
we
take
have to
action.
take action.
We have to
and
take
and you
action.
and you mentioned earlier, you said you don't want someone to come into a company and then just kind of stay stagnant and they don't feel like they can advance. Well, I can
Mhm.
tell you these kids are not going to just wait
Yeah.
for you to. They're not.
Right.
So
Right.
and so I would really prefer for our, the people that we bring in and that we're mentoring and we're speaking to,
Mhm.
if we bring them into CNA, we want to make sure that they stay at CNA, right? So what do
Correct.
we do
Right.
to do that
Right.
versus bringing them in, mentoring them, and then all of a sudden they leave because they have other opportunities for advancement somewhere else. So we want to make sure that we have that opportunity here at CNA for um, you know new incoming and then people that are already here. What does that mean? When you talk about opportunities, and we're going to even have a segment within EBP in our member meetings where we're going to have people actually talk about what they do in their job on a daily basis, because sometimes people just don't know. They
Yeah.
don't know. We have so many different areas within CNA that where people can, where you have actuary, you have SIU, Special Investigations Unit, we have attorneys, we have former police officers. There's so many different things you can do
So many
within
things.
CNA. So why leave if there's opportunity? So the key
Correct.
is
Correct.
having the opportunity.
Well, and I think, one thing is you talk about partnership, right?
Hmm.
And the partnership with Naya has been one that's existed for a long time. I
Hmm.
love that you're working with Mika and growing that LA chapter. Prior to me
Yes.
moving, I was starting to get engaged, and I featured Meek on one of my
Mm-hmm.
segments. So I follow you guys, and I'm seeing the work that's being done. So it's great to see
Mm-hmm.
that chapter growing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
soon
Mm-hmm.
it'll most likely become a Southern California chapter, I'm sure at some point,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
But I think that is so important, that partnership. And for those that are not familiar with NAIA, National African American Insurance Association, they have chapters throughout the country. So if you're in the industry and you're looking for an association to partner with, absolutely reach out to NAIA. CNA is a partner. Convention is coming up
In
in New Orleans, I
September,
believe, this
in
year,
New Orleans,
right?
in New Orleans.
New
And let's give a
Orleans.
shout out. It's
So
Black History Month. So let's give a shout out to Gerald Tillman, who started and is the
yes.
founder of NAIA. So I just want to give him a shout out since it is Black History
Absolutely,
Month.
absolutely.
Yes.
What an amazing association.
Hmm.
Really, they do phenomenal work, and I guarantee New Orleans is going to be on fire with the NIA convention. That is a great
Yes.
great location. I'm hoping to
Yes.
make it down. It's not too far of a drive from Houston, so won't be too bad to make it out there.
I'll meet you
You
there.
know, that's right. I know you will. I know you will. So let's talk a little bit about, we've talked about encouraging, youth into the industry, right?
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and some of the work that you're doing as far as the mentorship, from college students and high school students. So if I'm going to send this video to my son, because I'm
Hmm.
trying to convince my son, right, to get into the industry, and whether it's business analytics or actuarial science, I'm trying to guide him and push him, right, because
Hmm.
he's got kind of that interest of, okay, Dad, what is it that you do, right? And what does that mentorship, how do we get people involved? What would you suggest, and getting some of these folks started, some of this youth started into these
Hmm.
programs?
So my first suggestion would be is just to be your authentic self, right?
Hmm.
There's so many different areas within insurance where people can use their talents, utilize their talents, whether you're a business major, whether you, like me, healthcare,
Yeah, yeah.
background, risk control, risk management. There's so many. So don't limit yourself. I would say don't limit yourself because there's so many
Okay,
different areas even when you think about finance, you think about actuaries.
sure.
Just don't ever limit yourself because and there's so many opportunities within an insurance company. You think about, when you say you want to just go and you want to do something totally different than what you're doing. And so that means that you have to leave the company where you are and go seek
Right,
out another opportunity. Within the insurance industry, that opportunity is sitting right there with your
yeah,
company because
right,
you may be hired as an adjuster. Let's say you come in, you're going to adjust claims. But then you decide,
sure.
you know what? I want to learn more about the underwriting side of the business. How do we get
Right,
this business in the door? So instead of you leaving your company to go figure out, if you can get a job somewhere else in underwriting, you just go on your career site and see if there's any underwriting opportunities,
right.
or you
And
or
pivot.
and pivot, and it's about networking too, right? So you get
Yes,
involved
yeah.
in your ERGs. You get involved in. I've had people that just reach out to me just from seeing me in the meetings and EBP meetings,
Yeah.
and then just reaching out and said, Ruth, can you just tell me? Matter of fact, I had a call last week. Someone just reached out to me and said, "Can you just tell me what you do in your day-to-day job?"
Okay.
Right? And so
Right.
you have all of those resources, you have networking opportunities within your ERGs.
Within
And
your
at
group, right?
CNA,
Yes,
we have 8 ERGs, right? So EBP being
yes,
one of the
absolutely.
8. So that's just another resource. So kind of, circling back to your question, what would I say? There's several opportunities within the insurance industry like no other, right? And the insurance
Right.
industry is recession proof, right?
Yes. We saw
because
that. We've seen it. We've
right,
seen it.
right,
And
right.
and, you know, and it's hard because it's a difficult market, right? There's no
Right.
doubt that
Hmm.
our the insurance industry is going through it right now.
Hmm.
We had a successful town hall,
Yes, we did.
this week with Dino, and he talked about, just kind of where CNA is going, how strong we've continued to be from a growth
Hmm.
standpoint, from
Hmm.
a profitability standpoint, right? And just managing risk. We're
Hmm.
managing risk. We're an underwriting company. We'll continue to be an underwriting, and we'll ride this roller
Hmm.
coaster of
Right,
an industry, which keeps it so interesting. I
right,
mean,
right.
I wake up every day and, I'm excited about the day. I'm excited to talk to my clients.
Hmm.
Obviously, I've been on the sales side for most of my career, and it's still going to continue to be a business of people. We value relationships. So
Right.
as much technology
Hmm.
that it will exist, I don't think AI will take over this type of communication,
No.
right? I mean, it's still going to be a people, but it's going to be integrated, with technology. But I think the people element, is extremely important. And you talked about the other ERGs that we have, and what's beautiful is to see the combination and the partnership within our ERGs, how we
Right.
partner with Ola, we partner with, all the different ERGs that exist. It's
Right. And
phenomenal.
veterans, and it's just,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
so
yeah,
many that we
yeah,
really do a
yeah.
good job in
There's so
terms of
many. Hmm.
integrating it.
Hmm.
So listen, Ruth, this this is one of the conversations that I was really, really looking forward to. This is my
Hmm.
first interview of the year, and I was like, I need to start with the powerhouse, and just having you share your journey. It's really truly. I really do appreciate what you're doing.
Hmm.
Your kids are both doing, all of them are doing DEI stuff as well, right?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. My son was just featured at halftime at one of their games. He's a assistant basketball coach for Colgate University, and proud mom watching the game. Didn't know this was happening, and at
Okay.
halftime they featured him and talking about him and what he's doing in the DEI space. So, and then my
Awesome.
my baby girl started a racial social justice group when she was at Cal Berkeley,
Okay.
and she's
Okay.
very much involved with DEI. She's now at Colorado State finishing her graduate degree and her last year of
Nice.
basketball. So I mean, they are, and but it makes me feel good as a mom that
Sure.
being the example and setting the foundation and really just let it, sharing with them and not really talking at them, but
Yes.
letting them watch me and see, how what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Um, I never ever thought or dreamed that they would be in the DEI space. To be honest with you, I just wanted
Yeah.
them to be
Yeah.
successful. But they said,
Sure.
"Mom, you set
Sure.
the example, and we're following in your footsteps." So when they told me that, it made me happy. Yeah,
Hits the
yeah,
heart. No,
it
hits the
does.
heart. That
It
that's
does.
that's really, it just speaks to, being, like you said, supporting your children and everything that they do,
Hmm.
right? Supporting their dreams. You talked about your daughter and being an entrepreneur and having her own business, right?
Yes,
And everything like
yes,
that. And
yes,
it's really about supporting their dreams. And so
yes.
any thoughts? Is your daughter gonna come into the insurance industry? Have you been able to reel her in? She's about to finish her graduate school.
Well, I, I tried that with my son, and that was part of my journey. One of the reasons why I got deeper into this DEI journey because my son did interview with a carrier. I won't mention the carrier's name,
Okay.
and
Okay.
he would, unfortunately, it didn't go in his favor. He was the only, black young man that interviewed. He didn't get the role, and that concerned me. Ivy League
Yeah.
graduate,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
articulate. Um, wasn't really sure. I didn't understand why, but fast forward. everything happens for a reason, but that just made
Absolutely.
me even more intentional
Right.
about
Right.
making sure that we have opportunities for people that look like us, for people of color,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that really just made my focus even sharpen more. But going back to my daughter, I don't know what she's gonna do. But whatever she's gonna do, it's gonna be something big. I do know that.
It's gonna be something. Yeah, that's
It's
right.
gonna be
That's right.
something. Yes.
So just for a plug, with EBP, there's a couple of events going on. Because this is I expect this to go viral, with your
Yes,
story.
yes.
So I want every person
Hmm.
at CNA to share your story and EBP, but share a little bit about what EBP is doing this month, and then we'll close it out.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. So, a few things that we're doing for Black History Month. So, the national theme for Black History Month is African Americans and the arts. So, we are really focusing
Mhm.
on our EBP members this year, because we do have members that outside of work, they work in, not work, but they do art, they do poetry, they do. So we're going to be featuring them at the end of February in home office. We're going to have a red carpet event. So they're going to be showing off
Very
their
nice.
art and poetry, and we're going to have a musician come in, and so we're doing that. That's going to be our featured event. But also throughout the
The
month,
ga-
we're
the
going
the gala of the gala
the
of
gala
Black
of
the gala.
yes
I like it.
of Black History Month. But we're also going to be we're having a webinar tomorrow on February the 8th. I don't know when this is going to go out, but uh, we're going to be doing a webinar with the Chicago Art Institute. So we're
Arts
going to
Institute.
do,
Yeah.
yeah, we're doing a webinar, and we're also doing an in-person private tour of the Chicago Art Institute for our Chicago members. And just throughout the month, we're just going to be talking about featuring some really important artists within African American history. So we're going to be doing that. And also a plug for our Virgin Pulse with those of you who are part of who know
Oh
what
yes.
yeah, Virgin Pulse. We're going to be doing
The, the challenge.
collaboration, a challenge in collaboration with Will, which is our Women in Leadership, another one of our
Yeah.
ERGs. And we're also one more. We're going to be doing a featuring a Keith Stokes. He does a lot with the World War II and also the veterans. Um,
Hmm.
he has a lot of history that he talks about. So we're going to be doing a collaboration with veterans on World War II and Blacks in history. So we have a lot
History.
on our
Oh, I
plate
love that.
for Black History
Yeah.
Month, and we're
You
looking
know,
forward to it. Yeah.
I admire you, Ruth, because you find a time to do all these things, and you and Terry have always just found the time, right? And all of the board at EVP. I mean, you guys
I was
work
getting ready to say I want
very
to give a
hard.
plug to the board because the
Yeah,
board is
that
amazing,
board. I mean, amazing.
amazing,
I mean,
and
it's
our executive sponsor, Greg Francis, is
oh
truly, truly just a gem. I mean, he's right there for
yeah,
us. I want to give him a
yeah.
shout out also.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll tag Greg. Don't worry
There we
about that.
go.
We're
There
gonna
we
tag
go.
Greg and yeah, because I think what people don't realize is that every one of our ERGs is sponsored by senior leadership. So that
Yes.
just shows the commitment from our senior leadership in terms of trying to get, and be, take action, right? We're being
Right. Right.
intentional on the content that we're doing and we want to see more VPs that look
Right.
like us, right? We
There.
want to
There we
make that
go.
happen.
There we
That's
go.
really where we want to take this. And Ruth, I can't tell you how honored I am to have you. This is going to be a great start of 2024, having you featured. And I'll be sharing this, out with the community and sharing your story and your message. But from really honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed, our relationship for the last, 7 years that I've been at CNA, and you've been,
Yes.
somebody that I admire and I look up to. So, keep doing what you're doing because you motivate me. You're motivating all the youth behind me and everybody that cares about our industry and want to see, more people that look like us in the industry.
I appreciate that, Albert. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been my honor and my pleasure. Um, you are a phenomenal dad. So we got to give a shout out to your kids too.
Thank you.
We talked about
Thank
my
you.
kids,
Thank
but
you.
we got to give a shout out to your kids too. Um, and really do appreciate the time. I really do. This has been wonderful. I can't tell you how much I just enjoy talking to you. And I can't say it enough. You've always been there, always supportive,
Thank
and
you.
just looking forward to spending more time with you in the future.
Absolutely. And EVP is rocking. Make sure for
Yes.
those CNA, make sure you take advantage of, and the Chicago Art Institute is a phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
institution. I got to give a shout out to DuSable Museum. For those that have not ever been to DuSable Museum in Chicago, phenomenal. My grandmother was sat on the board there for many years, and it's just a great
Oh,
institution.
awesome. Awesome.
Honoring African American history and everything like that. So thank you again, and look forward to possibly seeing you in New Orleans.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks again, Albert. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.